former Minister of State for Finance, in my presence, in the presence of Governor Uduaga, in the presence of the Deputy Governor of Rivers State, and I think the presence of Governor Yuguda of Bauchi State, told NNPC pointedly, you are manipulating your record with regards to your claims on subsidy. And he has an NNPC management, including the group MD. I mean, how could you claim these numbers when the major marketers, all of them put together, what we are paying them in subsidy is X. Your share of import is Y. It's much, much less than what the others are importing. So how could you claim more subsidy, that is far in excess of what every other person is collecting? And I remember him vividly saying that NNPC owed the Federation account over 2 trillion naira. NNPC had all kinds of wishy-washy explanations, as if we were running an accounting system the way my grandmother would manage the villagers, Esusu collection. I felt a bit embarrassed, that we can't handle serious corporate matters, dealing with the heart of the economy. How we were in that meeting from morning till about 9 p.m. And the NNPC said, okay, they will scrap around to see if they could raise 75 billion. The Ministry of Finance will try to look for 20 billion. For me, the whole thing was trivialized. Because my understanding, my assumption, in a country with professional bodies like ICANN, we celebrate our this is the only country where everybody wants to be called, I'm engineer this, I'm chief accountant this. And yet we can't have books that people can see through, that make sense. We're producing how many barrels per day? Countries like Saudi Arabia that are producing 5 million barrels, 10 million barrels a day, they do account for their products. So I think there are serious issues which NNPC do need to speak to.
So,
Comrade, in the face of all this, how well is Edo doing in the area of internally generated funds?
Again, it's a vicious cycle. We moved, when I resumed in Edo, the locally generated revenue was under 300 million naira a month. We were able to move it and grow it up to 2.1 billion. But subsequently, we made an adjustment, to give more relief to workers, reduce their tax liability. And that led to a loss of about 500 million naira a month. Right now, we are doing an average of 1.5 billion, down from 2 billion. Or you might say up from 300 million, depending on what picture you want to give. But what you also do need to understand is that the fact that the Federation account is not being properly funded, federal, states, and local government aren't getting what they are entitled to, means that you are not able to pay contractors as much as you should do, and contractors, in turn, are laying off workers. A couple of services that government ought to be able to do, government is not doing it. And so, don't forget that when you give out jobs, contract or services, whatever is it, your service providers or your contractors also have employees who earn and therefore pay taxes. Now, when you don't pay contractors and they lay off workers, they also then don't pay taxes.
Oh dear.
So you have then, from a virtuous to a vicious cycle. And I think across the country, this is what is happening. That also affects your VAT. And so the receipt of VAT also drop. Now, the combined effect of that is that even the capacity of state government to raise locally generated revenue cannot be divorced from the state of the economy. But we are looking at new areas now. We are looking at property tax. And we are like, look, everywhere you go around the world, if you take 10,000 square meters, you alone to build a family house, very good. But you're going to have to pay tax for using that amount of land. If the other guy takes just 50 square meters, he will just pay as little. So we have a tax law now which says that we exclude all those who are living in low density areas. I mean, sorry, high density area, where the masses are. But for the so-called GRA, the high density and the medium density area, sorry, the low density and the medium density area, we think that this elite should contribute something depending on the size of land. And there is a law in place. We are working on the logistics, and very soon we should be able to raise some money on that.
All right,
We're also
Your
working on
Excellency,
consumption
sorry,
tax. Yeah.
unfortunately, we will not be able
That's
to
fine.
take a lot of questions or get more answers because of time. We wish we have the whole program to devote to this conversation with you because it's quite interesting. But as part of wrapping up this particular conversation with you, there are two things I would want to very quickly get very short answers to. The first one is the issue of the fact that you were General Secretary of textiles manufacturing workers in those days, and our textile industry has gone to waste. What's your thought? And I just need a very short answer on that one. Maybe there is something we should be doing, and then we'll ask you the final question.
Try. I'm very sad about that because really, you know, that was an industry that can easily employ a couple of millions of Nigerians. A technology that is simple, and we have cotton. But I think the problem of textile industry is power. Without power supply and high cost of diesel, high cost of LPFO, there is no way we can compete. And yes, government has given money, but money doesn't do the trick. If you don't have power, you can't be competitive using generator. I think that is the problem of the textile sector, the problem of the leather sector, partly why Michelin relocated, why Dunlop relocated. And unless you get power right, you're not going to have
Manufacturing is
industries
not.
back.
Okay.
And public sector alone can't create the jobs.
Okay.
Private sector, labor-intensive sector industries are required, and textile ought to lead. The entire Bangladesh economy is run on textiles. About 60% of their total national income is from the textile sector.
Okay, thank you very much. We have to wrap up now, but just before you go, I've saved this for the last. I know that His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, has said that if there is an election in 2015, and if there is an opportunity for him to recommend somebody to be the next president of Nigeria, it will be Adams Oshiomhole. Do you have interest in that position, Your Excellency?
We're right now working hard to justify my current mandate. I think it's a huge responsibility to be trusted by the great people of Edo State almost unanimously, winning across all the 18 local governments and transforming from labor to governance. And there's so much that I'm doing right now that I think I want to focus on that.
But if
and my party right now is
if your
still working on
party
this structure.
suggests that you should go for it, would you be
Well, you know,
interested?
the good thing about your question, keep saying if.
No, it's
Let
just
us
to
get
know
the
what
if.
your thoughts. Okay,
I
let's
will think
assume
about that when
you-
we get there. But right now, I think I have a job to do, and all my focus is on that job.
Okay,
Thank you very much, Comrade Dodger. You dodged that question very well. You dodged that bullet very well. We have been chatting with the Governor of Edo State, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole. Thank you very much for coming all the way from Edo State to have this chat with us.
Thank you so much. And thank you
Sunrise.
for doing such a fine job for Nigerians, you know, keeping us warm and putting a smile even in these challenging times.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much,
Congratulations.
Excellency.
Yes.
We shall return in just a moment with yet another very interesting discussion. Please stay with us.